My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready. Ready. Play.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good afternoon if that is in the part of the world that you are from. Oh no, what happened to that band of mine? I'm new. Well, I say I'm new, but the new person I'm not about to speak to, I've never spoken to before. How you doing, Matthew?
Hello. How are you?
Sorry, I got kind of caught up in two things there at once. I was just quickly trying to catch the end of the qualifying for the Formula One and try and do an introduction at the same time. I've learned that is a bad thing to try and do. It's not the most advisable thing in the world. Are you looking forward to this? What potentially it looks like it's the match of the day, really. That's being played second on centre court.
Yeah, it should be exciting. Danielle Collins knows how to play Iga Swiatek very well. Beat her earlier this year, so this is going to be interesting, especially coming off of what we saw from Swiatek a couple of days ago, having to go 3 against another American.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of those weird situations. We've had Iga Swiatek, who has fallen down the rankings somewhat, even though bizarrely is the world number 4, but because of how tight people are between that sort of 4 and 8 slot, even though she's now the 8th seed here at this tournament. But a lot of big seeds, a lot of expected winners, or potential sort of semi-finalists and finalists have sort of fallen by the wayside. And Iga is still just hanging around in here. Potentially could be on for a best Wimbledon run yet.
Yeah, trying to finally win this most coveted of championships. We know her struggles in the past on this surface, but you're right, just hanging on, living to fight into the weekend and hopefully the second week in what has been a wild Wimbledon.
Yeah, it's been a sort of wild west of Wimbledon on this one. As we're just getting a bit of a shot of the shot quality. Currently showing that everything barring return, forehand and backhand, Iga is the one in the lead. But serve quality is currently with the American. And as you say, the last time these two played was in Rome, and Danielle Collins was the victor in that one. As I see that the roof has been taken off centre court, interestingly enough, as it's been a little bit rain interrupted today.
Yeah, and we'll see what that does to the conditions as get close to starting. But yeah, you mentioned Danielle Collins beating Swiatek on clay earlier, and what a shock that had to be for so many.
Yes, indeed, given how much that is the surface that's being in charge. I just have the first point. If you have the first point.
Yes, backhand into the net from Collins there to get us started. So off we go. I was actually looking earlier. I mentioned Collins really plays Swiatek well. She's won 4 of the last 9 sets that these two have played, so just about dead even. They went 3 sets in the Australian Open not too long ago. So yeah, hopefully this will be an entertaining match. I think it will be.
I think it certainly will be. I'm going to leave you because I've heard you're a bit more old school with the commentary about point by point, and I'm going to chip in every now and then throughout the sort of breaks in the points.
Sure, absolutely. Well, glad to be on with you first time as Collins puts another backhand into the net. So that's 2 backhand errors here for Danielle in the opening game in which she served. So it's love 30.
And it is indeed. That's a great serve down the tee.
Now, terrific serve that Swiatek was able to get back. Forehand by Collins. Goes long. So 3 break points for Swiatek right out of the gate.
You get a good little shot of former finalists here, Andy Roddick.
Tried so hard to win this title so many times. As Collins faces 3 break points right out of the gate here. Misses the serve up the tee as Swiatek puts pressure on the American straight away here on center court. As Collins
Great second serve.
Yes,
Second
terrific
serve.
second serve. My goodness. Wow.
Hi guys, good to see you in the chat. Good to see everyone. To see Jake's in there as well. Ashley, we've got all the regulars. It's fantastic that are popping up there.
Yeah, enjoy being able to watch a match with someone like this. This is awesome. Let's see what Collins can do here. Still facing a couple of break points. Great serve out wide.
Oh, what a backhand down the line.
Terrific.
So that is 2 break points down. Can she go for the hat trick of saves, or is it going to be third time lucky for the pole?
About to find out. Oh, and she has saved it. Great serve up the tee.
I think Swiatek will be a little bit disappointed that she wasn't able to make any more of that than what she did.
By the way, I have noticed the Red Bull kit. Just stolen pole at the very end.
Yeah, what was that? Verstappen got pole?
He did, yeah, right at the end.
Wow.
As Collins an ace out wide, so he's won 4 points in a row. See what she can do here with a game point. This would be major escape as she serves up the tee, and Swiatek's return is into the net. So yes, Collins from love 40 holds serve to start. Great start to this one.
We are sticking in at the moment, it seems, with Collins keeping a nose and not getting herself a downer break, which can always be a bit of a danger zone against Iga. Just having a quick look at some of the outside courts. Dimitrov is already 2 sets to love up against Sebastian Offner. Zainab Somers is a set down to Alexandrova, but a break up. Cilic and Munar started up. Nakashima is a set up.
Wait, Krejcikova taking that first set 6-2 over Navarro. Krejcikova did not look good in that first set that she played on the opening Tuesday against Ayala, and she has really rallied since then and looked really good.
I think one of our, I think what was it? It was Vance in the chat said that in the Talking Tennis WhatsApp group that you'd love the idea of Krejcikova somehow actually defending this title.
So Swiatek serving for the first time here against Collins. Collins aggressive, tries to be as aggressive as she can, especially returning. Think she'll be able to do that against Swiatek's serve today.
Yeah. And she is. Wow.
Well timed. Really ripped that backhand.
And it was one of the things that was sort of noticed from the win in Rome was that whenever there was a second serve that Collins could leap onto, she generally did so.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key today, I would think. As Swiatek serves to the backhand of Collins, that return goes long. Ghosty is here, watching along with us.
Already giving his pseudo political opinions on certain players.
Into a rally here, which Swiatek ends with a terrific backhand winner.
Lots of empty seats. Yeah, I think a lot of people have gone off to get something to eat or drink in between matches.
Yeah. Yeah, they haven't filled it out yet. here on the world's greatest tennis court. Swiatek at 30-15.
I'm glad you said that. I would get confirmed. I would get accused of British bias if I said that. Good to have.
No. Anybody that denies that, come on. Second serve. Collins will attack again with the forehand.
Oh,
wow, Collins backhand winner. Tremendous.
Jake's asking how my day's been. My day's been great, Jake. I knew you'd be on the stream today. So yeah, I missed the weekend. No, it's I'm okay, good at the moment. It's a bit colder in the UK at the moment, but it's generally been I'm having quite a good day. Watching a lot of good tennis.
I have another second serve here for Collins to attack as she is into this return game after saving 3 break points a moment ago.
Oh, poor backhand, that one.
Backhand, but yeah, just drifted wide. She went big on it again, though, and she's not afraid.
She'd like that one back, as they would say.
Game point now for Iga. Missed that serve out wide. See, I'm always having to try to keep up with the YouTube chat. I'm not used to keeping up with YouTube comments. That's not something that I normally do, so I have to keep up with it. I always have to try really hard to do so. As Collins, again, attacking a second serve with a backhand, but goes into the net, so Iga holds.
So don't worry about that too much, Matthew. I can keep up with YouTube if you want to give us the play-by-play. At the moment, Ghost is just trying to have a go at me for thinking that I'm trying to defend Emma Navarro's money, which I didn't say I was.
Okay. Oh, goodness. Here's Collins set to serve for a second time. Entertaining start to this one as Collins goes out wide and misses the first.
And at the moment, Ghost is trying to see if he can start the American Revolution again.
Oh, the second one.
Yeah.
249 years after the first one. Collins has missed that second serve, hasn't she? So, double fault. Yes, 250-year anniversary for America coming next year. 364 days.
All we asked was that you colonialists just paid your taxes. That was it.
Here's the serve to Swiatek's backhand. Collins off forehand. Swiatek rattles that back with the backhand. Looping ball from Collins as she throws up a backhand lob. Swiatek's there to go big on the forehand. Collins has stayed in the rally. She's neutralized it again. Swiatek up the middle with a deep backhand. Forehand picked up by Collins.
I love that. Lovely play by Swiatek.
Yeah, really good. I did say I've got plenty of British friends that I work broadcast with, and I said yesterday, one of them wished us a happy 4th, and I said, well, I think everyone over there should get the day off too. You played just as big of a role.
Yeah, it's not a great week. We've got Canada celebrating their independence the week prior. I mean, it's
yeah, July 1st, I think it is for Canada, isn't it?
Yeah.
Collins up the tee. Swiatek chips that return back. High looping ball. Collins with a big backhand. Swiatek defends it back, and Collins is there.
I just want to clarify, by the way, I don't support imperialism. You've got your independence. Absolutely brilliant. Enjoy yourselves.
We're enjoying a lot over here these days.
Yeah.
And when I say enjoying,
you make your choices.
Yeah, right. 15:30 as Collins misses the first serve there. Oh dear. Backhand return here from Iga.
That was just a little bit too reckless there from Collins. 2 break points to Swiatek.
Well, Danielle
tell that
already
Jake
saved 3.
Jake is watching Grigor.
Oh, okay. Who is 2 sets up, I believe you said, right?
Yeah, 2 sets up.
Very
The
good.
stages of the third.
Oh, Collins saves another break point. Big serve up the tee. She's 4 for 4 now and break point saved. Can she do it again? It's going to be in Iga's mind if she lets 5 chances go by. Collins has missed the first serve.
Chance here for Iga.
Yeah. Should really attack this.
She does, kind of, not really. But it doesn't matter. It's a mistake from Collins' racket. And that's it. Swiatek has the early break at the start of the first set.
Well, you can't give her 5 chances in the first 2 service games, can you?
And expect the Iga Swiatek, one of the best returners on the tour, not to take any of them. And he got got a fan there, a kid with some Polish flags in his visor hat.
So over here in America, we get the BBC feed through ESPN Plus, but they really like to, during the change of ends, they really like doing 30 or 60-second ad breaks during side changes.
Oh, that's a shame. So do you get the British commentators like Andrew Castle and Jonathan Lloyd?
Yes. So during the first, I guess the first 4 rounds on ESPN Plus, we will get all the BBC coverage. But then once the matches wind down, they'll stick it with just the regular ESPN.
Well, okay, let's say I'm so sorry for you if you have to have Andrew Castle and Jonathan Lloyd as well as we do for the entirety of the tournament. But there are some really good commentators actually on the BBC. Abigail Johnson's a really good one. She's been on the show before, and a few others. Nick Lester does a couple of bits. Andrew Potter. There's a good mix.
I do always enjoy seeing how just watching the BBC coverage, how different it is from ESPN. Here, ESPN can get so entrenched in showing the Americans over everything else.
It's it's natural. It's which players are going to sell or which players are going to get the best viewership. To know that on the BBC main channel, they generally, if a British player is playing, that it doesn't matter if it's if it's the only British player playing and they're on court 12, they'll show that match. Over what may be on centre court or court 1.
They just actually just flashed up. So ESPN has gone over watching Navarro trying to serve out this second set now against Krejcikova. I normally do have 2 screens on. So I've got ESPN on up top, the main feed, and then the feed giving us Iga and Danielle here right in front of me is Swiatek serving up the break at 15-all. Collins blocks a return back to start the rally. Iga, great depth on the backhand. Gets to... Oh, did she miss that backhand? Yep, missed it just long, didn't she? .1530 serve here, and Collins has blasted that backhand into the net. Of course, something that does come with watching on ESPN Plus every now and again, the pictures will either freeze or jump on me, so bear with me on that. 30-all.
Yes, Ghost. Norrie is the best hope for the UK right now. Good old Cameron.
Raducanu played extremely well yesterday. Just too much.
That was phenomenal last night. It was just a shame that a few points here or there just didn't go away to potentially even get the upset. Oh, careful there, Iga.
Yeah, just slipped, planting that foot on the forehand, which did miss into the net. So, break back point here for Collins. And Navarro now has a set point to force it to a third against Krejcikova. Iga facing a great point.
Yeah, but she saves it. She saves it. It was a short return by Collins and absolutely jumped on by Iga Swiatek there.
Getting a lot of break points being saved here in the first 4 games.
That's the second time in the space of a couple of games that Collins has had to tie his shoelaces. It's either a tactic or they're not really, all those shoelaces have problems.
Wouldn't be stunned if it was a tactic from her now, would you?
Yeah, she loves the dark arts, good old Danielle.
Really good depth on these shots here from Iga, as usual.
Oh, I love that. I love that exchange, the aggression by Swiatek on those forehands.
Well, she just kept pounding away into that ad court and then finally got something she could really attack and try to end the point with. See if she can hold for 3-1. Oh, Collins really attacked that second serve.
Goes across court. Oh, look at the leg movements from both of them here. The move. Oh, Collins just about pushes Swiatek back there.
So deuce again. And I can tell you that Navarro did serve out that set, so we're going to a third with Navarro and Krejcikova.
And I've just seen that Belinda Bencic, rolling back the years, has beaten Elisabetta Cocchiacetto. I butchered that pronunciation. Well done.
Match tiebreak between those two. Bencic got through over Cocchiacetto.
Oh, and my faves, Skubsky and Salisbury through in straight sets to the third round of the dubs.
Do serve here from Iga. Goes out wide, and Collins, nothing she could do with that.
Ping it long.
Fourth straight time in the fourth round at a major for Belinda Bencic.
Yeah, I mean, everyone will remember that potential, US Open 21 where it could have opened up for her, but was one of Emma Raducanu's victims in that run. But, potentially you could have looked at her to get to the final there and even get a Grand Slam.
Not a seeded player this year, but right now you wouldn't want to be a seeded player the way it's going.
No, it's a death wish at the moment, having a number next to your name.
Iga missing a first serve as she tries to get to 3-1.
Keep calm, Ghost. Keep calm.
Oh, big backhand on the return from Collins. Thought it might dip in. Nope, it doesn't. So 3-1 to Iga.
No problems, Jake. I hope you keep on enjoying listening to us.
Yes,
as you get ready for work. That's the thing, is if you're just listening and you need to quickly do something else, you don't have to comment. You can have us in the background. If you don't find us too annoying, that's always the caveat.
Great to have you as always. As Collins gets set to serve again at 1-3.
Now it's quite crucial here for Collins not to allow Swiatek to run away with his first set.
Oh gosh, Iga just attacking Danielle's serve, and Danielle went pretty big on the second, but Iga makes a backhand error.
I mean, it's always the big question with Iga Swiatek is that she won Junior Wimbledon back in 2019, something like that, and yet this has been her worst slam by quite some margin over the years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when are we going to see the potential Iga that was able to win on the grass then, win on the grass now?
Great serve there from Collins, but Iga's still there defending it back, and Collins is into the net. I don't know how Swiatek got to a couple of those balls. Don't work hard, it never pays. Oh dear. All serve here is into the net from Collins, who is probably a bit frustrated right now. Oh, great second serve. Chalk goes flying up as she hits the back line. Swiatek's return goes long.
It's the one thing I do love about grass court tennis is that you can see if it is in by the chalk that puffs up afterwards.
Little margin for error there on that second serve.
Yeah. How's Hamgrim doing against the Demon?
Oh.
Have a look for you, Ghost. Currently, Demon all took the first set 6-4.
In what looks to be about 49 minutes. So it was a lengthy set as Collins has double faulted again.
Oh dear.
Either player backing off here at the start, not trying to just calmly work their way into the match. It's all gas, no brakes right now from both players. Collins out wide on the serve. Good return from Iga into a rally. And Collins with a good backhand up the line. Iga scoops it back, and then Collins makes a forehand error. It's amazing the amount of energy Iga gets behind those ground strokes, the pace. And now has another break point. She's had at least one break point in every Collins service game so far. Could go up a double break as Collins missed the first serve. And makes the second. Iga with a great return, nice and flat on the backhand, and Collins makes the error. So it's a double break for Iga and 4-1.
She is steaming along in this first set. 25 minutes on the clock, and Iga is already over halfway there to potentially the first set. Well, I must admit, given the way in which their matches have gone before, I expect this to be a bit more tighter than it has been at the earlier stages. Okay, there have been, some Iga service games which have been close, but at the moment, she's got the Danimal exactly where she wants it. That's currently locked up in a zoo somewhere in southwest London.
They played 3 times last year, and 2 of those 3 went to 3 sets. And then the one time they played this year, as we mentioned, in Rome, straight set win for Collins. But there have been some blowout wins by Swiatek in this series. Cincinnati in 2023, Swiatek won 1 in love. And Indian Wells last year, 3 in love for Iga. So she is steaming along, as you mentioned, here in this first set.
Good to see somebody I've never seen before. Schneehill Kuma in the chat, so happy that Rebecca is out. as an Eager fan, especially because I have her as my champion in the bracket.
Hey.
Fair enough, Kumar.
Yeah, that was. What'd you think about Rybakina losing to Towson today?
It's disappointing, but not surprising. Is the best way to describe it. You're in a situation here where the draws had opened up perfectly for her, and she just comes up against somebody who's got more will and more determination, and that's what happened. Really, it was a tight first set. Going to a breaker, only being won 8-6 in the end, but then to lose the early break at the start of the second, and then to basically for that to be all she wrote in terms of service breaks. Yeah, it's disappointing from a Rybakina perspective if you're a fan of hers. Brilliant if you're a Clara Towson perspective. She's had such a good year. With the semi-finals in Linz, winning the title, also getting to the final in Dubai. That potentially this is exactly what we've been expecting from Clara Towson, but finally materialising. She's had such bad luck with injuries over the last few years that maybe we're finally seeing what she can do.
I'm so intrigued by Rybakina because when she won here a couple of years ago, I think a lot of people, including myself, thought she's just going to have a rocket ship ride to the moon, to the top of the rankings, and she's going to win all of these majors, and it just hasn't happened since.
I agree. It's especially when that Australian Open final of 23 that preceded it, and how well she played there. It looked as though she was going to be up there with Sabalenka and Iga, and at that time, potentially Coco, as this sort of big four narrative that has been spanned. That these were the four most consistent players on the tour who were going to get to the back ends of every single big tournament. And for one reason or another, mainly down to a lot of internal illnesses and issues with their coaching team, it just hasn't materialised.
Yeah, it's been disappointing to say the least. Since that win here just a couple of years ago, that few people expected when she won here, and then has expected so much out of her since. She hasn't come through. Iga is at 15 here, and Danielle. I'm not fully sure where Danielle was going.
I think she obviously thought that let was an out.
15:30 here. She's annoyed Iga. Iga had a very annoyed look on her face after. Now she's caught the ball toss, now serves, and into the net goes Swiatek on the backhand. So Collins has a chance
to break back points.
Breaks back.
Collins is saying, I'm not done with this set just yet.
Got two chances here to get one of them back. Again, Swiatek just catching that ball toss. You mentioned the roof is open. And misses the serve. Half an hour on court. And Iga just taking her time before serving here. Oh, and she gets the back line on that second serve, and Collins can't put it in play.
It just checks a little bit higher, doesn't it, when it hits that painted surface?
Yep.
A bit like clay courts, where it just touches that paint and it just alters the ball bounce just a little bit.
Saved one break point. And as many times as she's catching the ball toss, she's starting to look like Krejcikova from Tuesday, as Collins turn back and doesn't even get it clear of the net.
Phenomenal serve that was from Swiatek, right down the tee.
So 2 break points saved. Now at deuce. And another huge serve. My goodness, Collins just got it back in and then misses the forehand.
That's a dire forehand miss from Collins there.
Let's see. Iga has not been exceptionally good, but one positive I've noticed is how well she's defended break points. Right. And she's had to defend a good amount here to start this match, too. Blocked back return by Collins. Big backhand cross-court Swiatek. And shoveled long from Collins, so it's 5-1. Well, and she didn't look particularly sharp against McNally either, did she? But as she so often does, when she needed to, she played solid and let her opponent make the mistakes. But she's played a bit more than solid here today. Collins serving to stay in the set. Swiatek short return. Collins is at the net. Lob thrown up by Swiatek. Overhead by Collins as a winner.
Good winner there by Collins.
Set is in danger of being like a Yannick Sinner kind of set so far. Being done in the blink of an eye, but Swiatek has.
I'll give Pedro Martinez his credit. It looked as though he wasn't even going to finish the first set in that match, and still managed to at least make it a free setter for people to watch.
So I've done 2 center matches now this week on different outlets, and I did the one a couple of days ago against Vukic, and I mean, my goodness, I think Vukic won the coin toss, and he didn't win a single thing after that.
Yeah. What other networks do you do, or do you do little channels?
So multiple channels that I'm kind of bouncing in between on Wimbledon. I've been asked to help out on another YouTube channel, then a channel that I run on Mixler that I've got on. So I'm being pulled all kinds of ways.
What's Mixler?
Yeah, Mixler is, what's the best way to describe it? Just an online app to create audio, and have a channel on there that I do all kinds of sports on, and doing Wimbledon on, of course. And so, yeah, I'm all over the place. You can find me in a bunch of places these days.
Okay.
Collins has 40-15.
Oh, and the racket goes.
Goodness, yes. She loses her footing there beyond the baseline.
That's always the worry when you go to that patch of grass just beyond the baseline, because it's a little bit more fresher down there and greener.
Well,
whereas at the moment, you remain in that area. We see that brown area that has been worn in a lot more, so it's a lot more firmer underfoot.
And of course, no bruising of the court near the net, which is the used to be where all the bruising was, right at the net, but not any longer.
It's a sign of the times. It's quite funny when you watch some of the matches later on in the second week on the outside courts, where you can see that a lot of doubles matches have taken place. You can actually start to see that bruising start to occur. Which was quite funny, and of course Queens managed to live quite well for the 2 weeks this year, with the WTA event that was added to the calendar this year. Which also, what's quite funny is that pretty much every single person that did well at the warm-up events this year, barring Alcaraz, has basically fallen by the wayside.
Billie Jean King in attendance. I was trying to catch up. What we got conversations about: Rune, Monfils, Kyrgios, Paul. We got all kinds of names being mentioned in the comments now. As my Ring app goes off, I think Amazon might be here.
Oh,
Should I bring the Amazon delivery person in on the stream?
that'd be quite funny.
Swiatek serving for the set now at 5-2.
I'm now curious of what you've ordered.
Nothing exciting, I promise you. Swiatek gets a 4-in winner. It's dog food.
Dog food.
No, absolutely nothing exciting. No.
Say new TV or like some sort of game or anything like that. No, dog food.
Right. Collins with the backhand return here, and into a rally we go.
Oh, up in the air. Oh, down on the ground. On the ground. And that's where she's staying.
Bit of a smile on the face after her. Is that her third stumble now?
I'll give her credit. She's pushing Danielle Collins to parts of this court that hadn't had footsteps on it since, probably the trophy ceremony from last year.
2 points from the set. And a miss serve by Swiatek. Oh, the Ring app is just continually going off. Come on. Noticing any kind of movement here. It keeps distracting me. Collins really big on that backhand return. Gets her a point.
Really sent eager to the floor there to try and get that point.
By the way, Ghosty, how did you celebrate 4th of July yesterday? Did you eat 70.5 hot dogs like Joey Chestnut did?
70 what?
So you have the annual hot dog eating contest in New York on 4th of July.
Right.
And you have just these behemoths of humans just eating hot dogs at just the most disgusting pace. And Joey Chestnut ate 70.5 yesterday.
What a name. Joey Chestnut.
Yes, in 10 minutes. 70.5 hot dogs. Good Lord. Swiatek closes out the first set. Big first serve there. Return goes flying off the frame from Collins, and it's a 6-2 opening set to Iga Swiatek. Well done.
Joey Chestnut.
Yes, you'll have to look up video of it. It's just the worst thing you've ever seen. Because what they do, so they have 10 minutes to eat as many as they can.
Right.
And you have to eat the entire hot dog. That includes the bun. So to save time, they dip the bun in water to get it down. And it's so terrible. Oh, it's so terrible.
Are you actually enjoying it at that stage? I mean, that's the big question.
I just want to see how many they finish. I really don't want to watch them actually do it. But I am intrigued by how many they get to total, as Navarro has just claimed the opening break of the third against Krejcikova. I picked Emma Navarro to win this tournament last year, and I thought I was going to be right. And she beat Coco, but I didn't pick her this year.
So you picked Emma Navarro to win the tournament?
Yeah, last year. Yeah.
That was a bold pick, wasn't it?
I always I mean, if you're gonna just pick the favorites every time, what's the fun in that, right?
I mean, who did I pick? Who did I pick? I must have gone like Sabalenka. Oh no, I would have gone Ons Jabeur because I always wanted Ons to win it.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for Ons. As Navarro used to say, is a breakup 2-2 at the moment between De Minaur and Holmgren. Dimitrov is serving to take it to a third set tiebreaker. Alexandrova has beaten Zainab Somers. 4-2 up. Cilic is on Yama Munar. And it's one set apiece between Nakashima and Sonego.
So I have to ask, as we're getting set for this second set to start. So I have to ask, why the Red Bull fandom? What got you into what?
Bizarrely, I'm not a Red Bull fan. I just got this. It was on sale a few years ago on the F1 website, and I was like, "Oh, that looks good, and it looks kind of comfy." So I'm going to go and purchase it. Because I do like because I think the design of the ball on the side with the bit and the logos all work well, and the navy blue color, and it's a really comfy top, and it's a bit of a sort of a house top that I wear. So hence the reason why I'm wearing this one, and it's held up really well. Like I've washed it so many times, and like nothing has peeled away. Absolutely nothing. Like I've got football tops where, parts of the number at the back and the logos all start, peeling off after multiple washes. This one stays completely fine, and I'm like, that's brilliant. I'll take that.
Very good. Well, I'm a suffering Ferrari fan.
Yeah, I'm supporting. I'm a Lewis fan mainly, so I've become a temporary Ferrari fan whilst he's at the team.
Well, and of course, for so long, I had to root against Lewis, especially in the Lewis Sebastian days, with Vettel was at Ferrari, and now I have to root for Lewis. It's a weird, weird fandoms. I was hoping they did a little bit better in qualifying today, but they didn't.
I was a bit surprised by that. Just obviously right at the end, just some issues popped up. Say issues, Verstappen putting a Bonds a lap. Just hope that the pace of the team actually is a bit better.
Collins serving to start the second set as Iga really attacks the serve. She has been in full attack mode since the start of this match. So who's the football team over there for you then?
I'm a Manchester United fan.
Oh, well, so both of us are a suffering Man United fan then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to field more than 6 players next year?
Well, I hope that they all don't get injured. I mean, that's the main thing. And that we actually have some strikers in that can actually, win stuff. That's the main hope.
Collins already in a love 30 hole here. But Swiatek can't make that return. It's into the net. Yeah, I had a tweet sent to me yesterday. Let's see. Rashford, Antony, Garnacho, Malacia, and Sancho have all informed the club they wish to leave. Great. That's just
it's going to be. It's certainly going to be pain before happiness under Rumen Amrin.
Oh. Collins with another miss, and Swiatek with 2 more break points. We might not have much longer left in this match. I have to say, I am surprised by how straightforward this has been. I thought Collins would dig her heels in
a little bit more.
Yeah, but Iga has just been
double foul.
Oh yeah.
So what other sports do you follow, or are you a fan
of? Follow just about every sport you can imagine, except for the combat sports, the UFC and the boxing. never got into those. But every other sport, good lord, on the planet.
So I'm guessing you follow a lot of the American Pacific sports, like the American football and basketball and baseball.
Yep, and we just, of course, had the basketball and hockey playoffs end. That was a long stretch. Both of those playoffs last about 2 months, and they go on simultaneously. So it is getting towards a downtime. At least that's how most of the media looks at July and most of August as a downtime before football starts again. But you have Wimbledon, you have baseball going on every day, you have racing, Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR are all in action this weekend. So never a downtime for me, but the media seems to think that it is. It's going to be a great racing weekend. Silverstone for Formula One, IndyCar at Mid-Ohio, and NASCAR in the streets of Chicago.
Streets of Chicago. Okay.
Third time they've been running a street race in NASCAR, something that no one would have ever imagined many years ago.
NASCAR is the most similar to sort of Formula One, isn't it, in terms of car design?
Right.
If I'm correct, it's like single-seater, middle row.
Yeah, and
I think I'm getting it correct. I'm probably not, but
well, big clunky stock car, basically.
Yeah.
And
then Indy. Oh no! Oh, is it IndyCar? I'm thinking of IndyCar, and then NASCAR's the one where they go. Right. Where they just go in circles all the time.
Yes, that's how people mostly view it. But like I said, they're at a street course this week, so
those cars are going to turn left as well as right.
No, yes.
Oh, just to the feet of Collins there on that one. Yeah, I know what you mean about thinking of the downtime. I know we've got the in the UK, we've got the football season as you know has come to an end. Well, as well as things like the rugby season, but in the summer there are like you say, this tennis is actually really quite full on in the summer months, and it's like cricket and a few other sports as well. And you follow the darts, that happens all the way through the year. I know that was in the States a couple of weeks ago for with the big stars in Madison Square Gardens.
Ghosty wants to know what American Pacific Sports is. What's that?
Specific.
Oh dear. Oh Lord. Yeah, and of course over here, you've got the United States and Mexico playing in the Gold Cup final tomorrow. You've got the Club World Cup going on over here, which either teams...
Nobody actually cares about that tournament. Nobody gives a damn. I have not watched... I watched one match, and that was Bayern Munich beating some team from Auckland 10-0, and I was like, I am done with this.
Right. Yeah, so the South American teams apparently are taking it incredibly seriously.
Oh, yeah.
No one else is.
Because they're halfway through their season, and you've got a bunch of European teams which are all knackered because they've completed theirs.
Yeah, it's all this talk about fixture congestion.
I just feel so sorry for the players that have been dragged along to that. They at least, when it comes to the sport of football, you got at least a guarantee, which is if the year is an odd year, you're gonna get the summer season off. That you're not gonna have a tournament to play in the summer. But when it comes to the even years, you're gonna have a World Cup or in your European case, the Euros.
Well,
and yet they've been dragged to play this World Cup of Club World Cup, whatever.
Well, we used to have
nobody cares about, which is some sort of passion project by the president of FIFA,
right?
Who's then goggling up Donald Trump in the Oval Office with the trophy, which somehow works with a key. Like what do you mean a trophy that works with a key? So it can turn. Like what is this, Harry Potter, where we need like a time turner?
Well, we used to have the Confederations Cup, and it was perfectly
that was fine. That was literally a couple of matches. It was to test out some of the stadiums before the World Cup that took place the year later. that seemed absolutely fine. It was it wasn't too many matches. I think it was something like 4 at most.
Yeah, there were 8 teams, if I'm not mistaken. Was it 8 teams? I think it was 8 teams.
Yeah, it was something like you had the host winner, you had the winner of the World Cup previously, and then the winner of all the confederation of all the continent Pacific trophies around the world, and that made up the people that would then play it.
Yeah, and you would have 2 groups, 4 teams. Then you'd have the semifinals and the final is how I think it went, and it was perfect. But the last one we had of that was in Russia in 2017 because they abolished it and didn't have it in Qatar, which I guess there would be a reason for that. You can't play in the summer in Qatar, but yeah,
you give it a go. But I think there'll be the number of deaths from players that trying to play in that heat would be alarming.
Right, but yeah, I don't know why we got rid of that. That was a perfect kind of tune-up to the following year's World Cup. Ghosty says probably not the south side of Chicago. It's near Buckingham Fountain and Grant Park. No way NASCAR goes through the hood. Oh, dear. Oh, Lord. It'll probably rain tomorrow because it always rains when NASCAR. But they can run in the rain on road and street courses these days.
Oh, yeah. As Daniel Collins sends a forehand so far along, it probably is going to hit that course in Chicago.
Yeah, she's in danger of going down a double break here in the second, and this is going to be a game, set, match here pretty soon. Just has not been Danielle's day here.
But Swiatek bangs a backhand into the if Collins does go a double breakdown, we're pretty much saying that's all she wrote on this match.
Kumar says the only match I loved was Al Hilal beating City.
That was quite that was banter. That was brilliant.
Well, of course, Inter Miami was supposed to, be the big draw with Messi, but they really.
That's the thing is, they somehow shoehorn into Miami, who came near enough last in the MLS for the last couple of seasons, into that tournament. That just shows how much of a joke of a tournament it is when you're shoehorning in a team because it has a certain player on it. That one takes it from being a serious competition to an exhibition.
Yeah, and they're trying so hard to prove that MLS teams can stick in with these world-class clubs. It's just...
Then you put the club that won the championship that year and you say that's your option because that's the best team in your league.
Unfortunately, they will come to realize soon, if they're being truthful with themselves, that the best teams in MLS are probably on par with the bottom teams in the championship.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth of it. Oh, Swiatek with a lob, just missed.
Collins looks like she's going to at least try and hold serve here. At least find some way of making it competitive. I mean, of course, the interesting thing is it'd be good to get you, talking about shoehorning in players bizarrely. The mixed doubles lineup for the US Open, which a lot of people like to talk about, and the huge changes there. How do you think that's going to go?
Well, as my very cynic friend Matt from over by the Milton Keynes area, when he saw Raducanu, he tweeted, "That won't happen. She'll be injured." But I don't know. That's such an interesting case, isn't it? Because the U.S. Open are just salivating at the possibility of these big superstars teaming up with each other and playing other superstar teams. But as always, we have to be angry about something, right? And we're angry about that.
I mean, it's one of the things where I'm not angry. I'm disappointed by the fact that the mixed doubles format, as it was, it will no longer be in existence at the US Open. I find it hard to believe that you can, with this tournament, add the winner of the 2025 edition to the Roll of Honor, but it's going to end up happening.
Yeah.
But if you are going to do such drastic changes as they have done to try and create this big all singing, all dancing tournament, this all-star tournament beforehand, the pairings they've got have certainly delivered. I mean, to get pretty much, to get 19 out the top 20, top 10 players on both the men's and the women's tour to participate, I mean, kudos on that one.
So my question will be, when we get to that point, is Collins holds serve here. Question will be, how much does everyone care? To the point of, is this just going to be some fun exhibition matches that we all just have fun with, or are people really, are the players going to take it really seriously, and are the broadcasters going to take it super seriously? Like over here, ESPN has the rights to the US Open. Will they showcase those mixed doubles matches? Because I can tell you, on ESPN, you will never see mixed doubles. You barely see doubles.
I think given the star, I think it will be a success. I think it will. You will fill stadiums because people will want to see these players who they, at the top of the game play on the to actually play. Do I think players will take it seriously? Well, we've heard Taylor Fritz is certainly going to take it seriously. He's already indicated that he's going to be, full prime mode. I do think it will go down well. And I think, we'll get a lot of great social media content. We know that whenever the tie breaks 10 tournament takes place the day before Indian Wells, there's always great, social media engagement from that to really help push it to push the tournament and push the players to groups that wouldn't normally be paying attention. And and I think it will be the quality of the tennis may be a bit, subpar potentially, but players will be able to use it to sort of, really refine their game before the main tournament takes place the week later. And it's all part of the fan week that the US Open has created, that, along with qualifying and whatnot, to really create a buzz around the fact that, the Grand Slam is actually a 3-week tournament now, not a 2-week one.
Yeah. And of course, we could always get in the conversation that I got on the last time that I was on this channel. Well, before yesterday, I did the fourth set of Fonseca and Jerry yesterday. But the last time I was on this channel doing a French Open match, Alcaraz and Shelton, wasn't it, that I was doing? We got into this big conversation of, should the U.S. Open put the women's final on Sunday and the men's final on Saturday? And that created a firestorm of comments. As we were talking about the placement of women's matches at Roland Garros.
I really would like one of the slams to do that, to just switch them up. I mean, it would be helpful for me as a European viewer to actually have the men's final on the Saturday, because I could stay up later and not worry about, not having enough sleep before going to work the next day. Whereas with the women's matches, I know it's best of 3, so it will finish on average earlier than the men's match. I mean, I'm quite fortunate this year that, from last year, where they moved the men's final back an hour from what was 9 o'clock our time the year prior to 8 o'clock, which then gives a little bit more leeway that, if it goes on a little bit longer, I won't have to worry. But, for me, that would be brilliant. But, and also from the it seems throughout the calendar that they are, different type. It always seems to be women on the Saturday, men on the Sunday. And, we get to switch it up from time to time.
See, so I know this will never happen because they wouldn't get they wouldn't make nearly as much money, and as we know, money makes the world go round. This is an incredible rally here that Collins has eventually ended with a backhand miss.
I mean, one of the things I wish I would like to see the Masters 1000s do, is follow the Indian Wells model of actually not just always having, not having, the two finals in two separate days, but actually have them all on the same day.
Right.
Like I really enjoy the fact that Indian Wells has both their finals on the same day. Same for Cincinnati. It just creates a better ticket for the fan on the Sunday and for the viewer at home watching it.
Right, and I was just going to say too. So if we want to get into the nuts and bolts of how the broadcasting works over here, the U.S. Open is going on with the start of the American football season, and football just dominates the ratings over here. I mean, just blows everything out of the water. So I would suggest, again, this will never happen, but I would suggest having both the women's and the men's final on Sunday, so you can have it, you can group it on that Sunday, and then get out of the way of the football that's going to dominate the ratings, because at the end of the day, TV controls everything these days.
Yeah.
Especially over here stateside. I don't know how it is over there with you guys, but ABC is paying all this money to broadcast the U.S. Open and get the finals, and then they get dwarfed in the ratings by football, whether it's college football on Saturday or the NFL on Sunday. I would just put both of the finals on one day and try to build big ratings that way.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the it depends on which order it goes around. But I could see an 11 o'clock start for the women's final, and then a not before 3 p.m. start for the men's final could work really well. But celebrate both on the same day. You can get shots of both winners, with their trophies on the same day as well. It could work really well. No, I would not be against it. And then also have some of the semi-finals take place on Friday and whatnot.
Yeah, and of course that will keep some women from having to play on back-to-back days.
Yeah, I mean the only counter argument would be, if you're going to stick a men's semi-final on the Saturday, given the fact they play best of 5, is that enough time to recover before a Sunday final? If you're going to work it that way.
Well, of course, for such a long time at the U.S. Open too, they would have the men's semifinals around the women's final on that Saturday, wouldn't they? So that happened many, many years ago. I don't know when they stopped that, but it was a while ago.
I mean, of course, my big thing is that I think the women should be playing the best of 5, certainly at least in the final.
Really, you think so? You're on the women's playing best of 5.
Yeah, I think that would really help the sport, really. Because as much as there's a big argument about trying to get men down the best of 3 at the slams, it's still seen it is realistically the best form of the game. You have a slow start in best of 5. It's not a disaster. You lose the first set, okay, you still have time to recover in further sets going forward. Whereas in the best of 3 format, you have a slow start, you lose the first set, you potentially even go down a break early in the second. That can be all she wrote, really, in terms of that game and that match, and they can be over very quickly. Whereas best of 5 format, you can really build drama. You can have 2 sets to have comebacks, as we've seen already this week. And it's for me, it's the best format, best of 5, and should be played by both genders at the slams.
So that's interesting to hear you say that, because over here in America, and again, ESPN covers the sport so differently than anyone else does. And their main talking point for a good while now is to have the men play best of 3 in the majors, because I think they're concerned about these 5-setters like Sinner and Alcaraz just going too long, and they're not able to hold their rating when you have 4 and 5 hour matches. And I think ESPN wants the men to go down to best of 3. But my goodness, if the men played best of 3 in this tournament, Jannik Sinner would have played 2 matches under 50 minutes so far in this tournament.
And it's it's we look. I just don't. But the best matches we see on the men's side are all in the slams and they're all best of 5 epics. like if we had best of 3, then Yannick Sinner would have just won the French Open in straight sets.
Right.
Like, and the drama of that match and the ebbs and the flows would just not have happened.
The Sinner and Alcaraz final, which was not on ESPN, incidentally enough, over here, because the French Open, ESPN doesn't have the rights to the French Open over here, so it was on TNT.
Yeah.
As it was for you guys over there.
Yeah, it was a bit bizarre, actually, and actually, from a operations standpoint, it enabled them to sort of share pundits and presenters.
Yeah.
So, one day you would have Chrissy Evert, and then another day we would have Chrissy Evert, and then one day you would have Mark Petchey, and then another day we would have Mark Petchey.
Yeah.
It was a good way of actually sharing around and using similar areas.
Yes, and so they had the French, and it was so refreshing, their coverage of the French this year. And of course they get that 5-hour, and I think they were just the opposite. They were thrilled that it went as long as it did, because they saw more and more people tuning in as it went on. And I think they really enjoyed it.
They did. Yeah, because the TNT coverage you got now was, I think it's pretty much similar to what we got in terms of the way in which it was styled and presented and whatnot.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, bizarrely though, TNT had its own score bug instead of using the French Open score bug.
Right, yes. And the same one that you guys had, we had. It was the same graphic package and everything. Swiatek holds for 4-2. But yeah, so I think they really enjoyed it going 5 hours, where ESPN, on the other hand, they don't seem to as much enjoy matches going long like what Alcaraz and Djokovic here did a couple of years ago. So they've been talking a lot about the men going to best of 3, but I don't know. I think I'm fine with it where it is both ways. I could see an argument if you want where you can potentially make the first 3 or 4 rounds of the Grand Slam best of 3 for both, and then by maybe the quarterfinals you move it to best of 5. I know in sports like darts and snooker, the more rounds you progress, the more sets you have to play to win the match, and that is a formula that you could potentially take. Granted, it would make it a little bit more complicated for a viewer to know, well, what round do they have to win X amount of games for? But that's certainly an option. Yeah, maybe it's just because it's how we've lived with it for our entire lives. I like what it is now. Best of 5 for the men, best of 3 for the women. I just think we're used to it being this way. Ghosty says he's pro best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I would, best of 3, best of 5 for the women. Certainly from maybe the semi-finals onwards or quarterfinals onwards, just as a tester from one of the slams would be, I think would be pretty neat.
It would be interesting, wouldn't it, to see the adjustment that women would have to make playing best of 5, wouldn't it? Because you have a lot of women, especially these days, that just go all out. Every single point is like it's match point. And if you're playing best of 5, you probably can't play that way, right? So
no.
Who would be the fittest to play best of 5 on the women's side?
I mean, how many times do we watch men's best of 5 matches and we see players tank a set because they know it's just not physically worth it? Or ebbs and flows in that set. So, by the way, Navarro 5-3 up on Kuchikova at this stage.
Yes, and Kuchikova serving to stay in it. Have that on the second screen up top here. I would be really interested to see who would be the fittest on the women's side to win best of 5s, because you do look at the top women right now. Coco, Sabalenka, they expend so much energy with how they play. Would that translate to best of 5? I think it's a great, just a great way to think about it. Honestly, if anything, I think Iga would probably be more dominant.
Probably would be.
In my head right now, I do think Iga would just win more. Best of 5.
Well, we have Grigor Dimitrov has beaten Yannick. Oh, sorry, has beaten Yannick. So I think it has beaten his opponent. So that means we're going to have Dimitrov versus Sinner in the round of 16. So that'd be a good match on Monday. That may even put that on third on centre court.
Wow. Well, look at Dimitrov just turning back the hands of time.
I mean, it's been so injury plagued over the last few slams where it's just been like round one exits with injuries that it's really good to see he's got a vein of health at the moment.
Trying to take a look here. Just wanted to make sure that score is right. It is. The Wimbledon app sometimes doesn't refresh for me the way I would like it to, but De Minaur's serving to force a tiebreak against Holmgren as Swiatek moves to 40 love in this fourth.
That's a fair point, Kuma. Is a fair point you're making there. Well, we'll say, match-wise, for the people wondering why we've ended up going down some rabbit holes, it's generally followed service holds quite straightforwardly since the opening break by Swiatek. And now Swiatek is 5-3 in the lead and is going to look as though she's going to be coming out to serve for the match and a place in the second week of Wimbledon.
I've really enjoyed, though, having the conversation. Every time that I've been on here, it's just been myself doing the match. I've enjoyed having these conversations.
No worries, Matt. It's Matt or Matthew. Which would you prefer?
Either one.
Matt,
I don't waste time.
I realised that I asked that question an hour and 17 minutes into the stream. How do you like to be called?
No, I don't waste time getting offended by what people call me.
Yeah, so it's it's nicer to actually conversate with two people, and I like going down rabbit holes and talking about certain topics as we're watching it, as we're watching the match. We need live tennis so bad. We do not need live tennis so bad.
Ghosting with just the most controversial comment right at the very end of the match. My goodness.
Last thing we need is Novak Djokovic taking 400 billion, million, trillion pounds from a state that likes to stone women who don't wear the burqa correctly, just to play tennis for a year, and then completely rip up the rules of an entire sporting system.
Does anyone watch live golf? Does anyone pay attention to it whatsoever? Because if ever I turn it on, it's on Fox over here. The graphics are goofy. You've got teams, which I don't care about teams when I watch golf.
It's an individual sport.
Yeah,
It's an individual sport.
Exactly.
I must admit, I'm not much of a golf watcher, but I do watch like the big majors. So I watch like the Masters, the US Open, the PGA Championships, and the Open, and then also the Ryder Cup. I do like the Ryder Cup. I will admit that I really get into that. But anything else outside of that, it's the type of fan you are. I mean, I know there'll be people that there'll be a James version of me. There'll be like somebody out there who like me. What am I trying to say, James? There'll be somebody like me, but for golf, who will watch every single event that takes place in every single week, from China over to the US and whatnot. Like I like to watch. I'll be one of those people that will be watching Gstaad and Borstad, the weeks after Wimbledon, because I like watching the sport whenever I can watch it.
Do have a match point here for Iga. Oh, and she finishes it absolutely brilliantly with a sprinting cross-court forehand winner. And Swiatek has easily dispatched of Danielle Collins 6-2 and 6-3 to move on to the last 16.
She has indeed. I mean, this is a phenomenal performance from Iga Swiatek in a matchup in the past that has caused her no end of grief and problems. Is she potentially, with the way in which the draw is opening up in the bottom half at the moment, Iga Swiatek to the final? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Anything can happen, clearly, in this Wimbledon. And
Yeah.
we have finished. Emma Navarro has also finished. She knocks out the reigning champion, Barbara Krejcikova, 6-4 in the third. So Swiatek and Navarro have both moved on, basically right at the same time. And to your point, I think those are two to watch to maybe go out and win this title, Navarro and Swiatek. By the way, we do have the order of play is out for tomorrow, at least for center court it is. I see it here.
Do you want me to read it out? I like to read it out in a very old Wembley style voice.
Yes.
So centre court starting at 1:30 in the afternoon. You have Sonia Kartel versus Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. That is then followed by Arina Sabalenka, followed by Elise versus Elise Mertens, and the last match of the day is Andrei Rublev versus Carlos Alcaraz. Over on court 1, starting at 1 o'clock. You have Taylor Fritz versus Jordan Thompson, followed by Nicholas Jarry versus Cameron Norrie. And then you have Linda Noskova versus Amanda Anisimova. And then the last two matches on court number 2, starting at 11 o'clock, is Karen Kachanov versus, and I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, Camille Majak. Sorry, Damien. And then Solana Sierra, the lucky loser, versus Laura Sigmund. There we go.
There you go. That is, who would have thought that the opening match on the first Sunday on center court would include Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova?
I know. Against Britain's Sonia Kartel. Sonia Kartel, not Sonia. But yeah, it's. I had a look actually. You look at the bottom half of the ladies' draw. Okay, we've still got one match that hasn't been completed yet, which is that has been completed. It hasn't updated on the app. Is you got Mira Andreeva versus Emma Navarro. You then got Katerina Alexandrova versus Belinda Bencic, Iga Swiatek versus Clara Towson, and then Ludmila Samsonova versus Jessica Borzas-Monero. So the land of opportunity in that bottom half of the draw right now.
I think Andreeva and Navarro is just going to be incredible tennis. Talking about to see women go 5 sets. That would be an amazing 5-set match. But yeah, just talking about Swiatek and Collins, could we see them meet up on that bottom half of the draw in a semifinal?
Swiatek and who again? Sorry, Andreeva or
Navarro? Yeah,
Navarro. I would certainly favor. I would favor the winner of the Andreeva Navarro match to get to the semi-final, and you would have to favor Swiatek out of the bottom half of people to get to the semis as well. So you never know, really. I think an Iga versus Andreeva or Navarro semi-final is certainly on the cards at the bottom. Who do you think? Do you think that'll be? Do you think it'll be Navarro, Swiatek, or do you think it'll be anyone else?
Yeah, I would agree with you that the winner of Andreeva and Navarro should be able to breeze through whoever it is, Alexandrova or Bencic. No disrespect to those two players. So you would certainly think the winner of that match against Swiatek. I don't know. I just love Emma's game on the grass. It's not going to be easy to beat Andreeva, but if she does, I think she could be all the way to the final. Top half of the draw is
top half. As much as I would like to say, as a Brit, Sonia Kartel is going to get to the final. I won't. Don't worry. I think we are probably looking at a Sabalenka Anisimova semi-final.
Anisimova is another one that I've been looking at for a couple of years now. About just her profile seems like it would be a perfect fit for grass, right?
But she did get to the final in the final in not the final. Was it the final? It was the final in Queens at the start of the grass season.
And I say all of that to back up by saying it's not going to be easy to beat Linda Noskova. We know these Czechs on grass are just so very good. Anisimova could very easily lose to Noskova, but if she beats Noskova, could very well make it to the semifinal to take on Sabalenka. And if it turns into an Anisimova Sabalenka semifinal, then I mean you're going to just have the covers of the balls being torn to shreds by the hard hitting of those two.
Yeah, and everyone loves an Anisimova backhand. It is one of the best shots on tennis. Okay, so we'll wrap everything up there. There is still, of course, matches that are to be played today. Ben Shelton will be on court 1 soon, as well as Novak Djokovic finishing centre court action against a fellow Serbian in Miomir Kecmanovic. It's been great to be on a stream with you, Matt, as the first time I ever met, and I hope we do some more streams in the future.
Yes, absolutely. Tons of fun. Big thanks to everyone in the comments. But yes, I've enjoyed it. Wish it could have been a little bit more competitive, but it was very enjoyable.
It was indeed. Keep on track on us for Talking Tennis. Remember, last ball drops. The show takes place after everything is finished on the 2 show courts. Do tune in for that later on and for the rest of the day, week, and all the stuff that we put out, because Talking Tennis is a fantastic place to be. Thanks so much, and goodbye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.